I'm joined now by the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Robert Garcia. Thanks for joining me.
Sure thing.
So we have an update here, a breaking update as it relates to some communication that Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney just sent to the House Oversight Committee. Can you explain what that news is?
Right. I mean, look, I think first, obviously, the Oversight Committee has subpoenaed Ms. Maxwell to come appear before the committee. That committee decision, it's been bipartisan. We all agree, we want to hear from everyone on this case. And now, obviously, Ms. Maxwell's attorney is putting down some conditions that they believe is necessary for this deposition, some of which, of course, is incredibly concerning to us on the committee. So it's really important that at the moment we kind of take this one day at a time. Our interest is to have her be fully deposed by both Republicans and Democrats, to do so in a way that gets to the truth, that gets to actually, that we can corroborate her information with what's already hopefully in the Epstein files, which is why the release and subpoena of those is so important. And quite frankly, I think some of the requests right now, I think, are just not reasonable requests. This is someone that we know has a history of lying, is not a good person, has done horrific things, committed terrible crimes. And we've got to take this process seriously. And so there will be a back and forth with our team, or with Chairman Comer's team and her legal team. But for an example, there's no way that we're going to sit around and wait until her Supreme Court case is wrapped up before we move forward with this deposition. I mean, that could be many, many months, and that's just not an acceptable timeline.
So let's skip ahead for a moment and just assume that this will get done and you do have the opportunity to figure out a situation where you can actually depose her. Is there any concern that because Todd Blanche and Trump's DOJ has already gotten to her, that any testimony is going to be tainted by any potential deal they may have been able to strike in private?
Absolutely. This is central to what we're doing here, because we already know that Todd Blanche, first of all, was Donald Trump's personal lawyer. I mean, this is someone that is completely committed to Donald Trump, not the Department of Justice or justice for the victims. And so we're very concerned about those meetings that have already occurred. Look, in this very letter that you're reporting on, Ms. Maxwell claims that she also wants a pardon and she wants a reduced sentence. She's being very open about it. And so what she has told the deputy AG, what she's actually communicating to the DOJ, we need to also know. And so I support efforts right now. There are efforts in the Senate to get some kind of release of the footage of that deposition and that conversation. I think that Comer, and we're communicating this as well, should do the same. We should request, subpoena, whatever it takes, to get that information and to actually see what was discussed between those two parties. But this goes back to the single most important piece of all of this, and that is the release of the Epstein files. We can't just take what Ghislaine Maxwell says on her word. Right. She's a known liar. She's someone that has lied multiple times in the court and in other places. And so we must have files and all the information so that anything that she says can be then corroborated with what's actually in the documents, videos, and the files that the White House is now clearly trying to hide and to cover up. And so, look, we just got this letter. There are some things that are being presented there that are not on the table for us. We have to be able to do this expeditiously. There's no way that we're going to just take what they want to do and move forward. I mean, she's been subpoenaed by the Congress, and so she's going to have to come for us. And I think also Comer is committed to that. And so we'll see over the next few days how this plays out. But we got to be, the public has to know that this is a person that wants to save herself and doesn't want to serve the time that she's already been committed to by a jury and judge.
So you had mentioned that she's already been subpoenaed by Congress. We spoke a few days ago when the subcommittee and the Oversight Committee voted that out. And so where does she get by trying to offer conditions for her appearance? Like, how does she have any leverage whatsoever to offer up any conditions? Why isn't it just, here's the day you have to be here, here's the time you have to be here, see you then?
Well, I think, look, there's always some negotiation in this process, especially because we want her to answer the questions completely. We don't obviously want her to plead the fifth. We want her to come in ready to respond to Congress, to the oversight Democrats, the oversight Republicans. And so there always is some negotiation in these kind of deposition kind of process. But to be really clear, what we're not going to do is allow her to kind of set the stage over how this is going to go. We are not Todd Blanche. We are not Donald Trump's personal lawyers. And
Right.
she may be trying to cut a pardon deal for herself, which we have to be I think very suspicious about that meeting. And what's really concerning, as you know, about this is she's trying to get this pardon. So what is she going to say? That is she going to basically try to implicate everyone but Donald Trump? Is she going to try to clear Donald Trump's name? This is really concerning. And so that's why it's so important that we force that vote to subpoena the documents, because the documents are going to tell us and lead us to the truth. And that's critical in this whole process.
Is there any concern that in the event she does show up for this deposition, that she could do more harm than good by virtue of maybe carrying out some plan that she hatched with the Justice Department, with Todd Blanche, to protect Donald Trump? Like, once she gets this stuff into the zeitgeist, then you've seen the way that the media allows misinformation and disinformation to have a life of its own. And so if she's able to come out there and say, because in the back of her mind, maybe she has a pardon waiting for her, that Donald Trump had nothing to do with anything, doesn't that hurt the situation more, because it obfuscates reality in a way that's difficult to, put the toothpaste back in the tube?
Yeah, I mean, look, if someone's got something to say, let's hear it. However, it's really important that we lay out the facts about who she actually is, what her history is, and why it's so important that Democrats are in the room during the deposition. So no one was in that room when Todd Blanche was talking to Ghislaine Maxwell just days ago, right? We will be in that room. And so the stories that she wants to tell, the information she wants to give, myself and other Democrats, as well as Republicans, will be able to be there and also have the same access to the media and to getting the truth out there as she has. And so it's really important that it's done in a way that's bipartisan. This can't just be Republicans interviewing her. We've got to be at the table, and we've got a great team of lawyers, of researchers, of committee members that are going to be involved in this deposition to ensure that she doesn't pull a fast one on the American public.
And final question, when we had spoken last time, your hope was that James Comer would move expeditiously on the subpoena to compel the release of the files and the Maxwell deposition. Have you heard from James Comer in terms of the likelihood of him to do that?
We have. In fact, we were communicating, our teams were communicating actually just today. And so we're still hopeful. There's nothing that we have seen right now that's steering us to a direction where he's somehow not going to issue it. I mean, he has to legally under the law. And so we still expect that to happen here over the next few days. And the sooner the better. We've got to keep that pressure on. Chairman Comer knows he's got to get this done and get it done quickly. And so we'll continue to keep that pressure. And if we get to a point in the next few days where we're feeling that this is not imminent, I think we're gonna raise the alarm level pretty quickly.
We'll leave it there. Congressman, appreciate you staying on this beat and for your time today.
Thank you.